It's day 64. I'm slowly running out of sockets and wrenches to work on the Teal 240. I'm not sure if the end will ever be in sight. I'm slowly running out of my rations, but we'll see if the end is near. Oh, I hope it's not very far away. We like to work with what we have, and working with what we have means that the deadline gets pushed back a little bit, but you know, we have to make it work, so. Welcome to another episode of Be Tailored, where we'll be hopefully starting the Teal 240 today. As you can see, it may be a little dirty. That's because I've been fixing up some odds and ends throughout the day just to kind of make sure that everything's squared away once we get this thing started. It's been a mix of wires, tightening clamps down and whatnot, gas tank stuff. Now it may not look like much has gotten done, but I've just been trying to tidy up some odds and ends before we get it started just to make sure everything's squared away. And as you can see here, we have our red headlight cover from Carroll. Now the reason I have the red headlight cover on the Teal 240 is because Carroll's was not damaged or any way. That was one thing that the Teal 240 had some damage in, is that part of the front fender was smashed in and the headlight cover was a little bent. So we've put that in and it's kind of fitting, I think. Maybe pays a little homage to Carroll. Now I think the last thing I'm going to do is finally tidy up all of the battery relocation wiring so that it's not all just going through the cabin of the car. So we'll reroute that all through the tiny little spaceways in the 240, and hopefully everything will be set so we can prime this thing up and get it started. Alright, so we have the battery wired up. We have it running through the firewall, through this little compartment thing, and up on top of the rear fender well, where it then comes out the side and to my circuit breaker, back to the battery. Now I've gone ahead and unplugged the relay so that we can get the motor to prime up with some oil before we start cranking that thing over, so we make sure it doesn't get flooded. Alright, now real moment of truth. I'm going to plug in that fuel relay to see if we're getting fuel, and then we'll see if we can start this thing. Wish me luck. So we have some great news. The car starts, it runs for a little bit, which is great because it's what we've been working for this entire time. However, it doesn't stay running, and part of the reason for that is because we're not running the tuned ECU that this SR20 is meant for. When I put in my tuned ECU, the fuel pump doesn't prime at all, doesn't kick on, and it'll crank over, but the motor's not getting any fuel, so it's not getting any kind of combustion in there to start the motor. So hopefully the ECU is okay. I'm not sure if I should open it up and take a look inside and see if anything's burnt out. I sure hope not. Maybe something's just unplugged. We'll see. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and open up that ECU and see if anything's wrong inside there, because we're this close. We just have to get it running for longer than a couple seconds. So after tearing apart the ECU, I did find a little short in the circuit board. I'm no electrical wizarding expert or anything like that, but it doesn't look good. I think I'm going to contact Martin, which is the man in charge of rs-enthalpy, who's tuned my ECU. He does a great job and he's very knowledgeable, so no problems going back to him and just seeing out, trying to figure out what's wrong with this ECU and maybe repairing it or just getting another one tuned. So the car starts, the car runs for a few seconds. If with my old ECU, I'm not going to try to run it with that because we're on different injector setup, different turbo, different cams. So running the factory ECU would not be an ideal situation for this setup. So I think this is a good place to end the video. We know the car starts, we know the car runs for a few seconds. I'm pretty pumped to know that we came this far and we have a final result that's somewhat working. Of course, deadlines always gets pushed back. It's just the deal with project cars. Always double the time and maybe triple the cost of what you plan on spending for your project cars. That's just kind of how it goes. So if you guys have any comments or if you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you're not subscribed, please make sure you hit that little red button. If you got anything out of the video, make sure you hit the like button. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.